Buddy?
Morning.
Okay. So we have minutes from January 3rd, if we could get a motion.
I so move.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
And then there's the 8th as well.
And also for January 8th, 2019, a motion to approve those minutes, please.
I so move.
Second?
Commissioner Cora?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Levin?
Yes. Great. Okay.
Do you have that or no?
I have the financials, but I don't have
No, you're good.
okay, and the report on the financials are approved on January 10th pursuant to the resolution that was passed in the Ohio Revised Code. There was an appropriations transfer from the commissioners to the Department of Development building equipment account for the purchase of a replacement vehicle. Supplementals from the Sheriff's Office in their 911 fund equipment account for purchases that were not completed and carried over from last year, and in their commissary fund salary accounts to move their part-time commissary employee costs to within the fund. Cash transfers, there's a cash transfer from the general fund to the Victim Witness Assistance Fund to pay the local match funding for the Victims of Crime Act grant. An encumbrance for a travel request from the Engineer's Office to attend the 2019 Ohio County Engineers Conference, and a voucher of $9,259 from the Commissioner's Office to the Geauga County Airport for pay request number 3 for the runway lighting project. And then it was approved on January 11th, again pursuant to the resolution. That was that we concurred with Huntsburg Township trustees in not requesting a hearing on the liquor license being requested by Rolling Green Golf Club Incorporated, Clubhouse, Pavilion, Storage, Maintenance Buildings, and Golf Course located at 15900 Mayfield Road in Huntsburg.
Okay. Any questions?
Morning, Adrian.
Morning. How are you, sir?
I'm good, and you?
Good, good.
Okay, settle in. I've got a lot of things I gotta cover on this, so
Alright.
I apologize. Today's financials include an appropriations transfer from the Commissioner's Office to the Engineers General Fund payroll account for the transfer of tax map employees from the Auditor's Office. Cash transfers include a cash transfer from the Commissioners to the Board of BD for the gas well proceeds from December 2018. Cash transfer from the General Fund to the Sheriff's Victims of Crime Fund for the 2019 grant local match. Cash transfer from various funds, including the General Fund for the December 2018 Windstream bill. Among the encumbrances is a purchase order from Building to Preston Ford for a new model 2019 Ford Escape replacement vehicle. A travel request from the Commissioner's Office for new Commissioner training. A then and now from the Commissioner's Office to Skoda Minotti for amounts not previously encumbered from 2018 for forensic accounting services. Travel request from the
How much
engineers.
is that?
It is
29,411.
29,411.80.
So what would the total be on that then with the total deal from,
I think we've spent over $50,000.
With Skoda?
Yeah. And this should be about it for them, so everything I think is pretty much complete. I'm not sure what Jim was waiting for on this. Took him a while to get us the invoice.
okay,
That's kind of why we had to do it then and now, because we had some money left over on the contract. We thought it was going to be enough, and then when we got the bill, it wasn't, and it was too late for us to increase that and get it carried over in time for this year. So,
wow, okay.
And, I mean, I don't know if asking you or just a comment to the board, it would be interesting to see what the results of those studies would be. You know, I don't know if that is public information or not, but I'd like to see what came out of that. What was the findings, or what's the results of those monies spent?
I can call Jim and ask for that, just now that the 2 cases are done,
Mhm.
indicators. I don't know with regards to the outside the company serving Texas or not, but.
Right.
As far as I know, those reports have been given to the auditor's office and the prosecutor's office, so we should be able to get copies of those or get meetings with them,
I don't know that the auditor's office is going to give a copy of it. I think we've just been told what some of the things were in it.
Yeah, because I know the vendor form, they updated the vendor form as part of that, so.
Okay, thanks.
Travel request from the engineer's office to attend the 2019 Ohio Land Surveyors Conference. Travel request from JFS to attend the Ohio Job and Family Services Directors Association meeting and the Ohio Council on Welfare Fraud 2019 conferences. Then and now from JFS to the Treasurer, State of Ohio, for amounts not previously encumbered from 2018 for state JFS services and support. Then and now from JFS to Margaret Rita for amounts not previously encumbered from 2018 for mileage reimbursements from October and November. Travel request from Juvenile Court to attend the 2019 Intercourt Conference, and a purchase orders from Water Resources to Valley Ford Truck for 2 new model 2019 Ford F-150 4x4 vehicles for their plant operators. Among the vouchers are $8,560 from the Commissioner's Office to NOACA for the balance of the 2019 dues increases, $46,040.64 from Department of Development, Community Development to Kent Marks Home Improvements for the Geauga Airport restroom upgrades, $90,074.04 from the Engineer's Office to Southeastern Equipment for a new articulated loader, $92,669.70 from Maintenance to Garland DBS Incorporated for the roof project at the Safety Center, and finally, a revenue certification from JFS to adjust which accounts funds are being deposited into for 2019. So that revenue certification is, there's no new revenue in that. They're just changing some of the revenue accounts to comply with the state and where the money should end up when it comes in.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye. Thanks, Adrian.
You're welcome.
So you staying for the next one?
Oh, yes, I will. I knew I would get up and.
That's okay.
Okay, the next item is distribute the balance in the domestic violence fund to Women's Safe. This is the local agency that is designated by the commissioners to receive such monies. And this is pursuant to section 3113.34 of the Ohio Revised Code. And basically what we do is the monies that come in for marriage licenses and divorce and annulments and stuff like that, there's a certain amount that gets set aside into this domestic violence fund. And at the end of every year, the beginning of the next year, we deposit whatever that revenue is and send it to Women's Safe. And we also submit a report to the State Attorney General's office to verify that, which I sent yesterday, actually.
And what was the total this year?
It is $15,656.67, which is a little bit more than it was last year.
And does it all have to go to one place, or could you potentially do something to?
It could go to multiple places. We've Women's Safe is kind of the preeminent domestic violence and abuse helper in Geauga County, so that's the one that and it's approved by the state to receive those funds.
Like Craig, do you think that that's good, or is there another organization that you guys would think also that would be an approved one that potentially splits some to assist in funding for?
Yeah, I mean, we support Women's Safe a lot too for
Right.
a lot of the, same reasons. They're really, it's not even just Geauga County, they're one of the primary ones in Northeast Ohio.
But that's, I mean, so as far as, and I was just thinking, Family First or any of those other ones that have always a need for funding too, as far as getting somebody a little bit, a couple people being able to qualify for a little bit of it. I don't know if that's something that would make sense or not. I mean, I guess we could revisit that down, later,
Yeah.
but something for you, to think about, because if it's, money that is available and it's a qualified space to do it, maybe that would help a couple different organizations.
Women's Safe is a really key organization that does,
Sure.
that's their focus.
So then, yeah, okay.
And
Yeah.
so, I mean, it could be pursued, but
Yeah,
they're
if you
very
guys feel
important.
comfortable with that, then yeah, don't
Yeah.
break it if, fix it if it's not broke then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
yep.
Okay, great. Thanks, Adrian. Motion?
So move.
Second?
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Yeah,
Thank you. Okay, Common Police Court, is anyone today or no? Just-
No, this is just their request.
Okay, you wanna read that?
For the, approve the use of credit cards for the 2019 year and further authorize the president of the board to execute the application for authorization to permit use for ORC 301.27 for a Judge Credit Union Visa in a maximum amount of $1,500 per month per person for Judge Carolyn Paschke, Judge David Andre, and Julian Monaco.
Get a motion?
So move.
Second?
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Sheriff's Office. Good morning. Morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I heard, was there a bad accident last night? Yeah. Parkman.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sorry to hear that.
This is the Violence Against Women's Act grant. The standard assurances is what you're being asked to sign there, pre-award conditions. This grant pretty much pays for the entire salary, so it's a good grant.
Okay. Do you read
There's
that?
two.
There's
Just
two
so
of
you
them?
know, it's 8214 and 8214A.
Somehow they split them this year to make
Yeah.
something for the county to be easier. OCCS.
Oh, yeah. Yep, yep. Okay, you wanna go ahead and read that?
The Sheriff's Office is requesting the board approve and authorize the president and board to execute the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services VAWA grant, pre-award conditions and standard assurances forms for grant 2018 WF VA28214 in the amount of $62,246.82, $46,685.11 from OCJS, and $15,561.71 local county match. And for grant 2018 WF VA28214A in the amount of $17,691.66, $13,268.74 from OCJS, and $4,422.92 local county match. These grants are for the period January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2019.
Okay, if we could get a motion, please?
So move.
Second?
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a
thank you,
good day.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Okay. Number 9, Department of Development. Dave? Good
Morning,
morning.
Dave.
How are you?
Morning.
Great.
How you doing? Good, good.
We have two actions today. The first action is really housekeeping for approval to authorize the use of updated common forms and payroll authorization forms.
It's effective on Monday, with no session until Thursday. And
Okay.
Jessica done at the, on Friday. We're doing
Ah.
this ahead of time.
Okay.
When, she's done when, Friday?
Yes.
Okay.
So to make sure that Christine is able to move forward as the first renewal to do billing and payroll, this is when we're doing it ahead of time.
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second?
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye. Okay, and number 10?
The number 10, I just wanted to get in front of the board to give them an update with the previous retirements and now 2 subsequent resignations. Met with Jerry, thought it would be an opportunity for me to get in front of you, just to give you an update on what the important programs are. I broke this update down into the 3 sections of the Department of Community, an Economic Development Department, the Building Department, and then what I call the Department of Development. So hopefully this won't take too long, but I will
The
try
first
to
one was
answer
what, David?
questions.
The first one was?
Community Economic
Okay.
Development. So the important programs in community and economic development program are based primarily on the community development block grants. These are the allocation and formula grants. And these grants are essentially for the well-being of the citizens. You guys are very familiar with this. We're in the second year now of the two-year grant, so 18 and 19. And the primary projects of these grants you've all approved. I think you're all familiar with them. Just to quickly rehash, that was the Board of Education entrance project for Berkshire schools. That's completed. The airport restroom upgrade, there's a final walkthrough this week. That'll be completed. The DDC paving project did not get done, so that has to get done this spring. And then we're still waiting on, we're working in conjunction with the maintenance department on some specifications for the repairs to the elevator in the opera office. And you'll recall the county home, obviously, that was canceled, and we reappropriated those funds for part of the expense of the upcoming strategic and economic development plan.
Yep.
Okay. So it's my plan then to continue with this grant and to reapply. It's now time, it's timely actually, because we need to reapply for another grant for 2021. And I will come back to this board for approval to do that, but I think it's important to do so. These grants typically range in the area of $200,000 to $250,000.
Yeah, how, if I remember correctly, but how did we submit for these projects?
So we actually go out and advertise to the public.
Okay.
And then the public they fill out applications, and those applications will be reviewed by my office, and then I will present them to you.
Okay.
And then this board will approve those grants, and then they're forwarded to the state for approval.
Okay.
So I think that's important, so that's one of the primary projects that go on there.
Is there a general form to fill out, like a
An
township needs an
application?
application?
Yes,
Okay.
there are. Yeah. I didn't bring them with me, Jim, but I can show them to you.
Okay.
And then the second part B are these revolving loan funds. So currently, we have 14 outstanding loans with a balance due to us about 1.3. We also have 1.4 available to loan. And I think it's important that we continue this program. And we promote the program. And so publicly today, I want to say our revolving loan fund program is alive and well and available to benefit the businesses of the county. So let's get busy with marketing that and making that available. And how do we do that? I think we start primarily with our bankers, because the bankers are really your first stop, right? You're going to go and expand your business, you're going to go to your banker. In fact, the last loan that came in was because that banker suggested it to the business person. So I think that's important. The revolving loan fund, the local revolving loan fund has 5 loans outstanding, totaling a balance due about $491. And there's $100,000 roughly available to lend. So like I said, we need to continue to promote and manage these funds, so that's part 2. The third part of primary responsibilities is the administration of the fair housing program. And just briefly, that requires 6 meetings a year, and it's part of the responsibilities there. So with all of this said, I think it's fair to say there's a considerable amount of immediate financial reporting and paperwork responsibility with these programs. So I have what I call a 2-step plan. Step 1 would be to hire a local consulting firm who is experienced in managing these block grants and can help us get the paperwork completed. I have obtained a professional services agreement from them. They have it with me. I can leave it with you if you want to look at it. I can summarize it for you if you'd like. It just depends on how much information you want. But that professional services agreement is for 2 things. Number 1, it's a one-time assessment of our current situation and immediate needs. And then part 2 would be a short-term assistance. So a monthly amount not to exceed for their help in managing the day-to-day financial responsibilities. Until we go to part 2, and that's restaff the department. keeping in mind that we do receive funds from the state for administration expenses, which is primarily salaries in excess of $100,000. So, you know, in reevaluating the staffing, and we've been through this before, I still believe that we need an office coordinator, which we're out to advertise. That ran on Sunday. And the office coordinator is a grade level 6. And then a program administrator to handle these responsibilities over the long term. And I just want to note that when we go out to hire these, I want to keep an eye, when we hire people, I want to keep an eye to the future for career growth for these people and for succession planning in the department. And finally, part 3, I reached out to the folks in Columbus with the ODSA, the Ohio Department Services Agency. These are the people that we work with closely on all the requirements for fulfilling these grant projects, to ask them to meet with me and give me some time to get these things in order that may be required immediately, like year-end reporting and so forth. And the guy got a hold of said, yeah, we'll be happy to work with you and we'll set up a meeting, face-to-face meeting. So I hope to get that done hopefully as soon as next week. Okay, so that's community and economic development. Any conversation or discussion about that or concerns?
You know, I think that there's just a couple concerns is that, you know, up until now, you're getting that money back for, so that, let's say it's $250, and you're able to get out of that $250, how much of that is towards the staffing and management of the account?
Yeah, I believe 100% of the, right this year it's 141,000.
No, but as far as, I know that, you know, the argument has always been is that receiving this grant gives us money to have the person that's managing the grant, you know, compensated through this, you know, through the amounts. So what is the amount that we're actually receiving towards the person that's, the administrative costs of handling the accounts that we have always put towards the, you know, personnel in a sense to try to justify
From
the
the
time?
state. I thought it was 100,000.
Yeah, it's never been 100,000, but I've always thought it was, you know, closer to around, you know, 40. I believe last year it was around 42. How can we find out?
You can go pull the contract.
Because I guess the big thing is that there was always the concern,
That,
you know.
that number's 41,000.
41,000?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know, 41,000, which really wouldn't cover, you know, fully, you know, benefits and salaries and everything.
Mhm.
There's always been that concern too, is that, you know, I know that Anita always said, you know, that we never know when is that project gonna stop, you know, or that funding gonna stop. And if it stops, we kind of depend on those dollars to manage that position,
Mhm.
that then all of a sudden, you know, next year it's no longer there. What do we do with that person?
I mentioned that when I spoke to Jared at the state. I said, you know, there may be some consideration for kind of stopping these programs, to put it bluntly. And he said, I really don't think you want to go there. I don't think your commissioners are going to want to do that because the county gets...
We don't, but I'm saying, what if the state does? I don't want to stop it because it's obviously it's a good program, but what if the state were to stop it?
You know what, I got no impression that that's out there, so
Okay.
I can't even speak to that. I got
Okay.
no indication, I should say, that there's any consideration to stop that whatsoever.
And as far as the consulting goes, in what kind of a number would we be looking at
Yeah.
for something like that?
Yeah, so I have those numbers here. The short term is about $1,725 for phase 1. That's for the assessment.
17?
That's a one-time
Okay.
assessment, $1,700, $1,725. And that's, I think 15 hours, they estimated at like $115 an hour.
Okay.
Part 2, the ongoing monthly, not to exceed 20 hours, is roughly $2,300. So you're looking at for the first month, about $4,000. And I will tell you, if you look at the salary budget, it's in excess of $6,400, which is in the budget today.
Right.
So we're well under that just in the first year. And so that's the ongoing assistance would be for a few months until we go to step 2 and staff.
And they would also write the grant for you? They would assist you to produce the,
Yeah, now that's an additional service at
Okay.
$115 an hour, but yes, they will do that.
any
We talked
estimates
about
about how many hours it would take them to do that?
To do the grant? No. I'll know that better after they do the assessment.
Did you have a chance to talk to the state about what would happen if we just did like, a 6-month or a year hiatus on these programs?
Well, that's
To
the
really-
meeting.
Okay.
That's the meeting that we're trying to set up.
Because that was what we had talked about, was maybe doing that to be able to say, let's really take a look at the overall department, the Department of Development and how we want to move forward with it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions then on the community economic development? I'd like to move into an update just quickly on the building department.
Okay.
Okay. So in 2018, the building department issued 1,755 building permits. Included in that was 145 single-family homes. Revenue generated from the department was in excess of $466,000, and the total estimated construction, or the new development in the county, if you will, with private investment, was in excess of $125 million, almost $126 million. So that compares to 2017, where there were about 1,800 permits, so pretty close to the same number of permits, and the revenue was about $500,000, so that was close. Interestingly, though, the estimated construction in 17 was about $123 million, so a couple $1 million less. But those are just some statistics that I think you might.
Does that include Notre Dame Cathedral at?
Yes, it depends on when the permit was pulled, what year the permit was pulled. It was probably 17 or prior.
Yeah.
That 145 new homes, was that 17 or 18?
18.
18. And what about 17?
17, it was 169. And interestingly enough, we already have 6 in for a permit so far this year. This is 15, so I think we're off to a good start in that regard. I can break down all the permits, but I guess I don't have to go into all of that information. Major projects for the building department this year, I think you're all aware of the Great Lakes Cheese expansion, 150,000 square feet, and a new corporate office building and a new Blazing Bills. We got permits in for a new medical building over here on 5th Street, about 9,300 square feet. And the aqueduct expansion's just under 5,000 square feet. There's several other projects in the works, but I think the information is still confidential. It hasn't gone public yet. Like I mentioned, 6 homes. And Notre Dame Cathedral Latin School is doing interior renovation as well. No current staffing issues there, but we do need to be thinking about planning for future inspector needs. If we lost an inspector, finding building inspectors is tough today. It's a very narrow market, so we're talking about a program to get those guys going. Okay. Anything else on the building department or any questions? Okay. Number of projects and meetings that I'm working on. In terms of the Department of Development, the strategic plan for economic development. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me talking about it. We got close to getting that going, and then our assistant prosecutor asked me to take a step back and actually go through the legal process for sealed proposals. And with Christie's help and Jerry's help, we're ready to do that now. I have the legal notices, turned them over. So we have a legal notice that's going to be going out into the papers January 31st and February 7th. And we'll call for proposals until the 20th when Christie will open them publicly. This is the RFP that's associated with it, so You know, when this gets done, and this gets approved, and it gets going, that's gonna require resources, I think, as well, so I may have to come back to you and say we need resources to assist these people with this. That process will take, I think, up to 6 months, so hopefully sometime before August, we get that prepared, come back with an action plan for this board to look at and say, here's what they recommend we do, and here's the resources we're gonna need to do that. Okay, so other projects, you know, include getting going on the marketing of the county, we talked about that. I hope to set up some meetings for us with key people in that regard. Continuing the business retention and expansion program, managing our CIC, that's an important aspect of what we do. Currently have 62 paid members, 20 trustees, 5 officers. We need a president, and we need an executive vice president. Ken Karosik retired. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but so I'm working with Laura and Jim on finding a replacement term. So that's 4 meetings a year with pertinent business topics. I mentioned in December I wanted to bring a guy in from the SBA to do our February meeting, but he doesn't answer his phone because they're closed with the government shutdown. He's not working, so we've got to do something else. And that's it.
Is there, the people that are, the consultants that are bidding the strategic plan, the bidding process, are any of those same consultants bidding the planning commission? Strategic plan?
Yes,
They
in
are.
fact, I got a couple of calls because it was confusing.
Oh.
I think I straightened that out.
Okay.
So, when this goes back out, my strategic plan legal notice, it's gonna be confusing again because of all of that, and I'll just handle the calls and straighten it out.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Dave, you've been through a lot of changes and a lot of moving parts in your office there, and you know, I appreciate the effort and the work that you do, and you always keep a super level head, and I you know, I've always been impressed whenever I meet with you with all the information and how far you dig into stuff, and I appreciate that, and I know that it's been hard with loss of staff and retirements and everything that you've got going.
Well, I appreciate that. And this office has been great with Adrian and
Yeah.
Jerry and Christie. Everybody's been great to work with. So
Yeah, but
even Glenn has been great to work with.
that's hard to believe, but
Does he get a star?
No, he gets a mountain too.
Oh.
but no,
Good deal.
thank you. We really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Is that the kind of level of detail? All right.
It was good.
Thanks,
Good
Dave.
report.
There's no action required.
No.
Sorry for all the paperwork. I'm not a millennial.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Right.
We'll use that as a plus for you.
Good.
Take care, Dave.
Okay.
You're not out.
He's pretty anxious.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning,
How are you,
everybody.
How are you, Nancy?
How are you all?
Good.
Great, great. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Off and running, right?
I've been running.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we're here this morning, as you used to us to coming every 6 months to
Yeah.
talk about the, next mutual funding agreement for Family First Council, so.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, with Jim, being a new commissioner, I know, and you came and attended one of our meetings,
Yeah.
but, here to also explain if there's anything you want to know about Family First Council, just about it.
What we do and what we're about.
We're prepared to explain to you if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm gonna go to each department and spend a couple hours,
Okay.
spend some time with them.
I was
But-
thinking maybe I could come meet with you sometime to go over things when you have some time. And maybe you too, Jerry,
Yes.
Yeah.
because everybody else is pretty familiar, but it's an unusual setup, really.
Yeah.
And you all have been very supportive, but it needs some explaining sometimes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So, but we just, again, very appreciative of the continued support that the Commissioner's Office and other county agencies that are part of it have provided us and have been a part of in time and effort and stuff. And it's, as you guys know, it's a very important organization with an amazing leader in Nancy, so,
Yep, for sure.
you know, and we're just very lucky that you guys have continued to support it.
Well, it's been great, Tim, having you. You've been an active member,
Yeah.
and so you've learned a lot about what's going on, and have had some really good input, too.
Yeah, I enjoy
And
that.
so-
You know, it's a good group, and
It is a good
obviously
group.
it's very important subjects and issues we deal with there, and, you know, sensitive, but, you know, I think we've got really good leadership in Geauga County and good, you know, a lot of people pulling in the same direction, you know, all these different agencies coming together, and it's, I think we're real lucky there, you know, for sure.
Well, and it's great to have your support. It's really wonderful to have the
Mhm.
commissioners' support. That's a key thing. I think it makes everybody else take it very seriously, too.
Yeah, and also it's another great thing is a lot of people that don't know, because a lot of the stuff that happens at Family First Council is not stuff that you'll read in the papers or make
Right.
headlines, but it is dealing with families that are going through significant struggles
Mhm.
and stuff, and those things happen everywhere, whether it's Geauga County, Geauga County, Lake County, it happens everywhere, but it's an example of how even at top level of government, they can get involved in these decisions and provide support to families on a very, very real,
Mhm.
very, very important level.
Mhm.
And so it's just having that kind of support and involvement at that level is important, how we can still always put our families first.
Mhm.
So.
Well, and you really see the real things that are going on, and as Craig said, it is behind the scenes. It's multi-need families, and there are many of those in Geauga County.
Mhm.
But quietly behind the scenes, I think people are helping it, because a lot of it
Yes.
can't be public, really.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so, and Ralph, it's very much nice of you to think about us for the domestic violence.
Yes,
fund.
yeah.
That was nice that you even thought of that.
Yeah, no, I know, it's just, I know that there's always a need for funding in these programs and
Right.
stuff that's
Mhm.
not, it's always easy to get, so if there's something
Right,
we could help you with,
that's
for
right.
sure.
No, that's nice of you to even think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
Women's Safe, really, that's
Yep.
their focus, and they do a great job in
Okay.
that area. But
Okay.
it's nice we're even on the radar.
Yep,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We can get a motion.
So move.
Second?
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy?
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
guys.
much.
Thank you all
Have
for
a
your
great day.
support.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank
Stay
you.
warm.
We'll try.
Yeah.
Hard to do in Geauga.
Right.
Who do we have next, Water Resources?
Water, yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Good morning. How you doing, Steve? Good, good.
Morning.
Morning. So, the Department of Water Resources is requesting the board to approve the president to authorize and execute the updated accounting forms authorization and payroll authorization forms. These changes are due to new employees and changes going on in the department.
Okay.
And that's it. Is that okay, Jerry?
It's your department.
Have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Commissioner DeBoer?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy?
Aye.
Thank you.
We have one.
Okay.
Well, all right.
Wait till it gets up there and then motion to adjourn.
Yeah. Don't you all get up and walk out.
That was Jerry's idea.
Recess. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, Glenn?
Oh, it's a good morning. Beautiful morning.
Why do we always mess with you?
I don't know.
Guess he can bark back.
These two items are our backflow devices throughout the county. We have two contracts, one set up for the safety center, one set up for the county. The county one, we put at 14,000. We only used 9,000 of it on the last contract, so we dropped that. Depending on the maintenance, what breaks and everything, that's what that cushion's there for. Same thing with the county safety center.
We spent $1,200 last contract. That's a big one. So if something does go wrong, I know we've got money there for that one place of that. So it's one of those inspections that you have to do.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Glenn, how's the heating system at the Department of Aging? Do we get that fixed and running?
No.
No?
They're looking at Thursday. The crane will be in.
So it's a rooftop deal?
Yes, it's
Okay.
a rooftop. If we can get the crane earlier,
Mhm.
then we'll get it done earlier. As of right now,
Yeah.
it's all set up for Thursday.
So what kind of a price tag are we looking on that?
That was 11.6
Okay.
off the top of my head.
Not
I
too
know,
bad.
when we priced it out last summer, it was at 12 something. So why it came in a little bit cheaper, I don't know, in an emergency situation, so, but we got fortunate on that.
Yeah. And what would you say, in your best guesstimation, is our overall status on these systems throughout all the buildings around town? I mean, I know a lot of them are, like this one, for example, is 25 years old.
Yes.
I mean, it's
that
outdated.
one and the one next to it, which controls the third floor, those units are approximately 23 years old, right? Way past their life. We've just been trying to
Anticipates it.
wait and see where we're going with the buildings and everything
Yeah.
else without dropping any more money.
I mean,
than
to
what
me,
we
it
have to.
feels like a game of whack-a-mole. We're just
Yeah.
waiting for
Yeah.
something to pop, you know?
Correct.
And like, this is what I've been trying to stress, and I think what this board has for the last couple of years, that this is where you're not controlling your destiny, you're being controlled. You're just, this is bad money, you know? When you invest in new things, you can have some control, but when we're waiting, that's bad money. You know, you're just waiting for the next, you know, mold to pop up, you know? And, you know, I know, you know, you're on the front lines with what we've been talking about for years now, and I think a lot of boards prior to us have said, you know, future buildings, and held back on these type of improvements, but, you know, this has finally come to fruition here, where we're gonna have to, you know, start updating these things for sure, you know.
That or get into one or two buildings and
Yeah.
instead of having 20, 30 HVAC units, we only have one or two on a building.
Mhm.
You know, just start condensing all that stuff.
Right, right.
I mean, each one of these buildings has a backflow preventer on it.
Mhm.
Where if you do one or two buildings, you only have one or two.
Exactly.
You're just cutting all that down.
Mm-hmm.
There's pros and cons to either way you go.
All the
So,
redundancy,
and-
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I just need to get, think bigger and smarter and what's great, better for the county and all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, you wanna, we have 12 and 13, are these the same? Should we just read those together, or?
Yeah, we can do them together.
Okay.
The Maintenance Department is requesting the board approve and execute a service contract agreement with Advanced Mechanical to perform inspections and maintenance services for various Geauga County backflow devices for a 2-year period, February 8, 2019 through February 7, 2021, in an amount not to exceed $14,000. Maintenance Department is requesting the board approve and execute the service contract agreement with Advanced Mechanical to perform inspections and maintenance services for the Geauga County Safety Center backflow devices for a 2-year period, February 2019 through February 7, 2021, in an amount not to exceed $5,000.
I so move.
Second.
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye. Thank you,
Thank
Glenn.
you.
Yep, y'all have a good
Appreciate it. Do we have executive session today, or do you, no?
No, it was no longer necessary.
Okay. Yeah, I saw him walk out, but, okay.
Yeah, he called me yesterday and said that it was no longer necessary.
Very good.
The employee had resigned.
Very good. Yeah, I just wanted to make just one comment, I guess, and it's really, you know, related to a recent article that was in the paper with, last week. And it was, you know, on our conversation that this board had, talking about the facilities. And I think the article was somewhat, misrepresenting of what we said, or what I was trying to say, I think, was that, you know, I don't think this board has ever stated that we were going to refuse to look at any options related to that courthouse. We haven't ruled out any potential ideas or suggestions. I mean, we've agreed to listen to whatever options the city of Chardon may present to us, but you know, I'm not quite sure where it was, you know, that this board had ruled out anything on the future of that courthouse up there. So, you know, I just wanted to make that clear, and, you know, I don't want to speak for the two of you, but what I was hearing was that we are still open to any type of potential plans or suggestions, so, you know.
That's my understanding too.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's, you know, I think it's unfair sometimes, not that, you know, I make my decisions based on what the local papers are saying, but, you know, I just wanted to put that out there, because I was getting some phone calls about a recent article in the paper, just kind of, you know, making it look like we've closed the door on a certain direction, and I think, you know, all the cards are still on the table at this time, so I just wanted to clear that up, and I reached out to the city of Chardon and their mayor and their city manager, and just let them know that that's how I felt, you know, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that that's, you know, maybe one of the things that, you know, we probably, you know, going into the new year of 19, I know that we looked at the options in the past with the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that I really think that maybe we want to look, you know, relook at,
Mm-hmm.
and look at some options. I know it seemed like we kind of wanted to. We started out with the simple thing that kind of developed into a little bit of a, you know, just a, you know, we don't want to be a newspaper. We want to basically be able to communicate with our residents that we serve, and
Exactly.
you know, so I guess with that being said, if you both don't have an issue with that, I could work with Jerry to
Mm-hmm.
to try to maybe revisit that.
Okay.
And then we'll look at what options we have, and with the possibility of doing something that just has the ability of us, you know, which I agree with Tim. I mean, it's, you know, people have the ability of possibly misinterpreting something that they heard, that they may not have heard the whole thing, or look at it in a certain way, or think of it in a certain way, and we can deliver the message as is what it is. So,
Yeah.
if that's something that you guys would
Absolutely.
allow me to take the time to do that, I'll work with Jerry, and we'll look at
Just to get the facts out
Yeah,
there.
yep.
Yeah. Agreed. You know, I've always said, you know, when we talk in this room, it's like we're kind of in a vacuum here. What we say is then translated by somebody else, and, you know, I think for us to be clear and concise, we need a way to communicate.
Yeah.
You know, and what we want to say.
And I'd like to do that, and I've got some ideas that I'll share with Jerry, and then he could work with you guys too, of trying to possibly get us in a little bit of a different position, you know, whether it's social media or also, you know, our updates to our website, or some things that we can do also to just get that message out there, and the costs will be controlled. So.
Okay. Good. Okay, thank you. And so anything else? There's a couple meetings coming up. We'll be closed Martin Luther King on the 21st. We do have NOACA meetings coming up on this Friday, planning, programming, which I believe I'm on that board.
I'm in external affairs, so I'll be there.
External
8:30.
affairs, okay. Then we'll be back Thursday the 24th for session. And then it's we're getting into February, so we get a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.